a woman with no friends. Good evening, everyone. Today, I want to speak to the woman who feels like she's walking alone, the one who looks around and sees no familiar faces standing by her side. I want to talk about what it means to be a woman with no friends. First, let me tell you this: being alone doesn't mean you're lonely. Being without friends doesn't mean you're without value. Society often tells us that our worth is defined by how many people we have around us. But the truth is, your worth is determined by one thing and one thing alone: you. I've been there. I know how it feels to sit in silence, wondering if anyone truly understands you, if anyone truly cares. But let me tell you, the most powerful friendships you'll ever build start with the one you have with yourself. Here's the reality: sometimes life takes people out of your journey because their chapter in your story has ended. Sometimes it's because you're growing and growth requires space. And sometimes it's because you're destined to carve out a path so unique, so brilliant that not everyone can keep up. The greatest friendships aren't always built on numbers, they're built on authenticity. And until you find those people, don't let the absence of others dim the fire within you. Let it fuel you to rise higher, to stand taller, and to achieve what others never dared to imagine. You are your own best company. You are your own greatest ally. And when the world sees a woman walking alone, it doesn't mean she's weak, it means she's unstoppable. To every woman here who feels like she has no friends, I want you to know this: you have you, and that's more than enough. Remember, the journey of life isn't about fitting in, it's about standing out. And sometimes the loudest roar comes from the quietest moments of self-belief. Stand tall, be proud, and know that being alone isn't a curse. It's a chance to build an unshakable foundation for the extraordinary life you're meant to live. Thank you. Self-worth is not defined by others. Your worth has never been and will never be defined by the number of people in your corner. It's not about applause, likes, or followers. Your worth is intrinsic, woven into your being from the moment you took your first breath. It's not something to prove, it's something to own. Think about this: when the world goes quiet, when no one is cheering your name, who are you? That's the question that defines your self-worth. It's not what others see in you, but what you see when you look in the mirror. We often hand over the keys to our confidence to others. We let their opinions shape our identity, their validation become our oxygen. But here's the truth: those keys belong to you and you alone. No one else gets to drive your narrative. Imagine if you stopped waiting for someone to recognize your brilliance. What if instead you chose to recognize it for yourself? That's where the magic happens, not in their words, but in your own belief. Every compliment, every affirmation from others is just a reflection of something you already have within you. It's a reminder, not a revelation. Don't wait for others to tell you you're enough. You are enough right now, just as you are. The world has conditioned us to seek approval, to crave the nods and the smiles of others. But approval is fleeting, self-worth is eternal. It doesn't waver when the crowd goes home. You don't need to be the loudest in the room to prove your value. Sometimes the quietest person holds the most power. Silence doesn't mean insignificance, it often means self-assurance. When you stand in your own worth, you stop seeking acceptance. You become the one who decides who is worthy of being in your life. You stop chasing and you start choosing. Your worth isn't a negotiation. It's not up for debate. It's not tied to how many friends you have or how often they call. Your worth is simply yours, untouchable and undeniable. Think of the sun. Does it shine less brightly because someone doesn't notice it? No, it shines because that's what it was made to do. You, too, were made to shine regardless of who's watching. Every time you question your worth, remember this: you are the only version of you in this entire world. That alone makes you priceless. No one can replicate your story, your voice, or your power. When you realize your worth isn't tied to anyone else, you unlock a freedom most people spend their lives searching for. It's the freedom to be unapologetically you. And the best part: when you carry that unshakable sense of worth, it draws the right people into your life, those who see it, value it, and honor it. You are not incomplete because you're alone. You are whole because you are you. And that's all you'll ever need to be. Loneliness vs. solitude. There's a difference, a profound difference between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the absence of others. Solitude is the presence of yourself. One drains you, the other fills you up. We've been conditioned to fear being alone. The world whispers that solitude means something is wrong with us. But I'll tell you this: some of the most powerful transformations happen in moments of solitude. When you're alone, you're not distracted. You're not pulled in 100 directions. You're forced to confront yourself, to see who you are without the noise. That's where clarity lives. Solitude is a space for growth. It's where you discover your likes, your dislikes, your boundaries, and your dreams. It's where you hear your own voice loud and clear. Loneliness makes you feel abandoned. Solitude reminds you that you are enough. It's a shift in perspective, a change in the story you tell yourself about what being alone means. The strongest people I know are those who've spent time in solitude. They've learned how to comfort themselves, how to stand tall without leaning on anyone else. Don't fear solitude, embrace it. See it as a gift, a chance to recharge, reflect, and rebuild. It's not a punishment, it's an opportunity. When you stop fearing solitude, you become unshakable. You're no longer reliant on others to validate your existence. You become your own source of strength. Loneliness whispers lies that you're unworthy, unloved, unseen. Solitude speaks truths that you're capable, resilient, and whole. In moments of solitude, you'll find your power. It's there waiting for you, buried beneath the chaos of daily life. You just need to be still enough to see it. Think of solitude as a cocoon. It may feel confining, even isolating, but it's where transformation happens. When you emerge, you're stronger, wiser, more vibrant than ever. Solitude isn't about shutting the world out. It's about tuning the world out so you can tune into yourself. It's about connection not to others, but to your own heart. Every great leader, every visionary has spent time in solitude. It's where ideas are born, where dreams take root, and where courage is found. You don't need to fill every quiet moment with noise. Sometimes the quiet is exactly what you need to hear your soul speak. So the next time you find yourself alone, don't resist it. Lean into it. Ask yourself, who am I without anyone else around? And let the answer guide you. Seasons of life. Life is a series of seasons, each one unique, each one serving a purpose. Some seasons are lush and full of people, laughter, shared moments, a sense of belonging. And then there are seasons of stillness where the world feels quieter and the people you once relied on seem to drift away. These quieter seasons are not a reflection of failure. They're a reflection of change. They're a sign that you're evolving, and not everyone is meant to grow alongside you. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, and when their purpose is served, they move on. It's not always easy to accept. Losing people can feel like losing parts of yourself. But I want you to remember, when one chapter closes, it's because a new one is beginning. And in those new chapters, you often find the most incredible surprises waiting for you. Sometimes the people you thought would walk with you forever are only meant to teach you something for a little while. They help shape you, challenge you, or even hurt you, because growth doesn't come from comfort. I don't hold on to what is no longer serving you. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means making room for the right connections, the right opportunities, and the right kind of love. You'll notice that as you grow, your circle often gets smaller. That's not a bad thing. It means you're becoming more discerning, you're valuing quality over quantity. Seasons of isolation are not voids, they are incubators. They're where you refine yourself, where you figure out what you truly want and need. They're where you shed the old and make way for the new. Just like the trees in winter, you may feel bare and exposed, but beneath the surface, your roots are deepening. You're preparing for spring, for growth, for renewal. It's easy to mourn the friendships that have faded, but try to see them as gifts. They served their purpose. They were part of your story, but they are not the entire story. This season of life might be about you learning how to rely on yourself, how to be your own source of comfort and strength. It might be about you discovering that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. Not everyone is meant to stay, and that's okay. The ones who matter will remain, and the ones who leave are clearing the path for something greater. Don't rush through this season. Don't try to fill the space with noise or distractions. Sit with it, feel it, grow through it. Every season has its beauty, even the lonely ones. In fact, it's often in the most barren seasons that we find our deepest strength. And when the next season comes, when the right people enter your life, you'll appreciate them more, because you've learned what it means to stand on your own. Life is always changing, always moving. Trust that this season is exactly where you're meant to be, and that the next one will come when you're ready. The power of self-friendship. The most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. It's the foundation for every other connection in your life. If you're not a friend to yourself, how can you truly expect others to be? Self-friendship isn't about treating yourself occasionally. It's about showing up for yourself every single day. It's about being your own cheerleader, your own comfort, your own guide. When was the last time you truly listened to yourself? I don't mean the noise of your doubts or insecurities. I mean the voice deep within, the one that knows your worth, your dreams, your potential. Friendship with yourself begins with kindness. How often do you criticize yourself for not being enough, for making mistakes, for not fitting in? Would you speak to a friend that way? If not, why do it to yourself? Celebrate your victories, no matter how small. A true friend would. Forgive your mistakes, no matter how big. A true friend would, and believe in your ability to rise again, no matter how far you've fallen. A true friend always does. Spend time with yourself, not out of obligation, but out of love. Take yourself on a walk, a dinner, a date. Learn what makes you laugh, what makes you dream, what makes you feel alive. Being your own friend means setting boundaries not just with others, but with yourself. It means knowing when to rest, when to push, and when to let go. It's about being patient with your growth. You wouldn't rush a friend through their struggles, would you? So why rush yourself? Self-friendship isn't selfish. It's the most selfless thing you can do, because when you nurture yourself, you show up better for everyone around you. The power of being your own friend is that you never truly feel alone. You always have someone in your corner, someone who understands you better than anyone else ever could. This relationship is lifelong. It's the one constant in a world full of change. Invest in it, nurture it, protect it. When you become your own friend, you stop seeking approval from others. You realize you already have all the validation you need within you. And here's the most beautiful part. The better friend you are to yourself, the better friend you'll attract. Like attracts like. When you value yourself, others will too. Friendship with yourself is not just about love, it's about trust. Trusting your instincts, trusting your worth, and trusting that you are enough just as you are. So start today. Be the friend to yourself that you've always wanted, and watch how your life transforms in the most incredible ways. Authenticity over quantity. We live in a world that glorifies numbers, how many followers you have, how many likes you get, how many friends you can count. But let me ask you this, what's the point of a crowd if no one in it truly knows you? Authenticity has more power than numbers ever will. Having 5 genuine connections is worth more than having 50 surface level ones. True friends don't just stand with you when it's convenient. They walk with you through storms, through silence, through seasons of change. Authenticity begins with you. Are you showing the world the real you, or just the version you think they want to see? Because the connections you attract will always mirror the energy you put out. When you're true to yourself, you give others permission to do the same. That's how authentic friendships are built on honesty, vulnerability, and trust. Not everyone will understand your journey, and that's okay. True friends don't need to. They just need to respect it. They need to respect you. Quality connections aren't about how often you talk, but about the depth of the conversations you have when you do. It's about the feeling of being seen, heard, and valued. You can have a room full of people and still feel lonely, or you can have one person who understands your soul, and that's all you'll ever need. Authenticity isn't about quantity, it's about depth. When you're authentic, you attract people who align with your values, your passions, your essence. These connections don't drain you, they energize you. Authenticity also means knowing when to walk away. Not every connection is meant to last forever, and that's okay. Letting go of what doesn't serve you makes room for what does. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. The right people will recognize your worth without you having to shout it. And the wrong ones, let them go. Think of your circle as a garden. Would you rather have a field of weeds or a handful of roses? Invest your time and energy in what truly matters. Being authentic means you don't shrink to fit in. You don't mold yourself to please others. You stand tall in your truth, even if it means standing alone for a while. Authentic friendships grow slowly. They take time, effort, and care. But when they blossom, they're unshakable. They're the kind of connections that last a lifetime. It's not about having everyone like you. It's about finding the ones who love you for exactly who you are. And that starts with you loving yourself first. So stop chasing numbers. Start nurturing authenticity. Because at the end of the day, it's not how many people stand beside you, it's who they are and what they bring into your life. Strength and independence. There's a certain power in walking alone. It doesn't mean you don't need anyone. It means you've learned to rely on yourself. Independence is not isolation, it's liberation. When you're independent, you're not swayed by the opinions of others. You trust your instincts, your choices, your path. You don't need permission to live your life the way you want. Independence is about knowing that you are your own anchor. It's about standing tall, even when the winds of life try to knock you down. This strength doesn't come easily. It's built over time through experiences that test your limits and push you to grow. It's earned, not given. Independence doesn't mean you don't value relationships. It means you don't depend on them to complete you. You are whole with or without them. Being independent also means setting boundaries. It means knowing when to say no, when to walk away, and when to prioritize yourself. It's about making decisions based on what's right for you, not what others expect. It's about living a life that's true to who you are. The world often tries to tell women that independence is intimidating. But let me tell you this, it's inspiring. It's empowering. It's necessary. Independence doesn't mean you never ask for help. It means you're not afraid to stand on your own when you need to. It's about balance, not isolation. When you're independent, you stop seeking external validation. You realize that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's approval. This strength and independence allows you to walk into any room with confidence. You don't need to fit in because you know you belong wherever you choose to be. It also means embracing your own company. You learn to enjoy solitude, to find peace in your own presence. You become your own sanctuary. Independence is a journey, not a destination. It's something you cultivate every day through small choices that honor your truth. Don't let anyone tell you that independence is lonely. It's not. It's a foundation of strength that supports everything you build in your life. And when you walk independently, you show others what's possible. You become a beacon of strength, a reminder that true power comes from within. Embrace your journey. Your journey is yours alone. It's not meant to look like anyone else's. It's messy, unpredictable, and at times incredibly lonely. But that's what makes it beautiful. Every step you take, every challenge you face is shaping you into the person you're meant to be. Even when it feels like you're lost, trust that you're exactly where you're supposed to be. The world will try to tell you how to live your life, what to want, who to be, what path to follow. But your journey is yours to write. No one else holds the pen. Embrace the detours, the setbacks, the moments of doubt. They're not failures, they're lessons. They're part of the process, part of your story. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't waste your time looking at someone else's path. Focus on your own and walk it with pride. There will be days when the road feels too long, when the weight of the journey feels too heavy. Those are the days you must remind yourself why you started. Your journey won't always make sense to others. That's okay, it doesn't need to. It only needs to make sense to you. Embracing your journey means accepting the highs and the lows. It means celebrating the victories and finding strength in the struggles. It's about trusting the timing of your life. Not everything will happen when you want it to, but it will happen when it's meant to. Your journey is as unique as your fingerprint. No one else can walk it for you. No one else can tell you where it leads. Embracing your journey also means being present. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Find joy in the now, in the process, in the little victories along the way. When you embrace your journey, you stop fearing the unknown. You realize that uncertainty isn't something to avoid, it's something to embrace. You are the author of your story, the hero of your narrative. Don't let anyone else dictate how it unfolds. The journey will challenge you, but it will also transform you. And when you look back, you'll see that every step was worth it. So keep walking, keep believing, keep embracing your journey because it's leading you to exactly where you're meant to be. A woman with no friends. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing you take away from this today, let it be this. Being a woman with no friends does not mean being a woman without strength, purpose, or worth. It means being a woman who is unafraid to stand in her truth, to navigate the seasons of life with grace, and to forge a path uniquely her own. You are not defined by who stands beside you, but by the power and light you carry within. Your solitude is not a void, it is a sanctuary, a place where you uncover your truest self. In the quiet moments, you find clarity. In the stillness, you discover strength. Every step of your journey, every challenge you face is sculpting you into a masterpiece of resilience and authenticity. Embrace the lessons, let go of what no longer serves you, and step boldly into the life you're creating. Friendships may come and go, but the relationship you build with yourself is everlasting. Be your own best friend. Be your own greatest advocate. Learn to cherish your own company, and you'll find that the world begins to reflect the love and respect you show yourself. This is your story to write, your path to walk, and your light to shine. You don't need a crowd to validate your worth. You are enough, just as you are. Stand tall, stand proud, and remember that you are the hero of your narrative. So whether you stand surrounded by many or walk alone, know this: your journey matters, your voice matters, and above all, you matter. Walk forward with courage because the world is waiting for the extraordinary woman you already are. Thank you.